Liz Taylor, tell us what you're seeing below the sea in the oceans about climate impacts. How is climate change changing the oceans?
Well, we're seeing a lot of it happen in terms of just the ocean temperatures. We're looking at this great bleaching that's going on in the Great Barrier Reef right now. It's just devastating. About 90% gone of the Great Barrier Reef. It's shocking.
Can it come back?
There's hope that parts of it can come back. It depends on how long the surface temperature is sustained at a high rate. With the remotely operated vehicles and human-occupied vehicles that we are developing, we're able to go down into deeper water and see if some of these corals are coming back, if they're more resilient where the water is cooler instead of just being at the surface. There's some discussion about transplanting corals from deeper water back into shallower water as temperatures cool. We're trying to collect them and then rear them in captivity, the same way that some other endangered species have been saved. Now we're looking at even being able to do that for corals. But it is quite shocking to see these sudden changes happening. Just, we're all witnesses to it.
I would like to add to Liz's story that we were down on the Great Barrier Reef 3 years ago and got a chance to talk to the scientists from Townsville who know coral. And they were hypothesizing that within 15 to 20 years, the waters would be too warm and acidic to support coral growth. And here we are, 3 years later, with major sections of the reef gone. And that's the one constant that's in climate change, is that you make a prediction 2 or 3 years later, you can tear it up and start all over again.
It's happening faster. Why is coral so important as the base of the food chain? Why is that so important, Liz Taylor?
Well, the plankton is really the base of the food chain, but the coral contributes to that when they spawn. All their little corallets are waterborne into the planktonic soup that's there. But beyond that, they are a very important barrier to storm damage. They're one of the first lines of defense that we have. So we have all this coastal development. Most of the population lives within 50 miles of the coast around the world. And so if we're tearing down things like mangroves and coral reefs are dying, that just opens the door for these huge storm surges to race in much further in than they would have in the past. So the coral reef helps to calm the storm conditions ahead of them reaching the shore. And so they're very critical for that reason. And just the myriad of fish that they support, all kinds of different fishes there.
Liz Taylor, is sustainable aquaculture or farming, what's the way to do it right in terms of to utilize the ocean's bounty for humans without overdoing it?
Well, first of all, we need to stop treating the ocean as a supermarket and a sewer at the same time. That's kind of fundamental. But beyond that, it's really looking at, do we want to continue this kind of trade in global wildlife? We're shipping fish all around the world. We have tuna that are caught off the coast here or caught elsewhere, and they're shipped overnight to a fish market in Japan. It's a huge carbon footprint. It seems a more logical way to fish locally, fish with artisanal methods, hook and line, not to have these massive commercial trawling operations going on. The McDonald's Filet-O-Fish sandwich supports the largest trawler, a ship more than 400 feet long in the Bering Sea that just takes metric tons of pollock out of the environment. And how does that affect the other animals that rely upon that food source?